You know, one of the founding principles and whole ideas of this entire channel is to come alongside of dads who want to do things drastically different than what their families did before them. You want to break those inherited default settings that you have inside of your family. That's what this channel is all about. And so in this video, I want to talk to you around what it feels like to be like when you're stuck, and to help you to know that you are not crazy for wanting to change the things that you want to change. So guys, I'm going to be straight with you today. I feel really stuck. There's just so much going on in our life right now, and it feels like in different places that I'm drowning. And I would probably bet that you probably, if you're watching this right now, feel the same way. In many aspects, you feel a little bit crazy. I was just having a conversation with my wife this morning, just to talk to her a little bit about this stuckness around how I'm feeling and what this all looks like and sounds like and feels like inside of my heart and my soul, and how it's just coming out of my family. And I said, you know, all of these changes that we want to make, like, it just feels like so much right now. Like there's just so much fighting against us. Now that isn't not necessarily true, but it feels like that at time, that there's just so much happening. And the language that we've been using for quite some time, I think is really helpful, is that it feels like all the changes we want to make inside of us and inside of our family is like trying to turn the Titanic. And it would be one thing if it was just like one particular area of our life, but it is specifically four areas of our life in which we want to do things drastically different. The first is we want to do things drastically different spiritually. Like we want to do things drastically different than the way our families did before us. Physically, how we take care of our bodies, what that looks like in a crazy world that no one seems to be getting more and more well. How do we do that? Emotionally, how do we engage and stay present with who we are, who we're becoming, and to make sure our kids have everything they need to stay emotionally healthy in a world that just seemingly gone wrong? And then if all those three aren't enough, guys, financially, how do we do things drastically different in a way that's different from our families regarding our financial world? Now, with my wife and I, you know, we've noticed some very specific patterns. We've done a lot of work in regards to the families we've come from, the patterns we have, and we're like, okay, here's some things that we want to do differently. And so if you think about that, if you're like, okay, you've got 4 areas of your life, and in each of those 4 areas, there's probably several different categories on how you want to do things differently. After a while, especially when you have little ones running around, it can feel like a lot. And as a man, as a husband and a father, I can tell you I'm feeling the weight of it in a massive way right now. And so there was this lie that just started to creep in this morning as I began to feel more overwhelmed around just our situation and wanting to show up for you and to show you what this light's going. Man, you know what? I'm not sure I have what it takes right now. I'm not sure I've got the ideas and the way to deliver this to you and to show you that I've somehow figured it out, which I haven't, by the way. That's part of the reason why this channel exists, is to let you know that I haven't figured it out at all. And so as I was sitting there talking to my wife around this, she said something to me that was really powerful, that in regards to this video in particular, but I actually believe applies specifically to my walk and to your walk right now. And she said, Ben, you need to just give yourself permission to suck. Like, for it not to be like what you really, really want for it to be. And that, I don't know about you, but that is really, really hard for me to hear. It's probably really hard for you to hear too, if I'm taking a guess. I've interacted with too many men to know that, like, we don't want things to suck. Like, we want things to be really, really good. And just, yeah, we just want them to be tight and easy and great, right? And so I don't want things to suck. But the truth and reality is I'm going to go on this journey of becoming the upside down dad. And I know you are going to go alongside of me with this journey and become that same man too. You have to start somewhere. That's what it is. So right now in my own life, in my own season, I feel really overwhelmed. There's a lot of things that have changed. We've come a long way. There has been a massive gain that we've experienced, but most of the time I just feel this gap. This place where there's this void, there is this difference between who I am now and who I ultimately want to be. And I wonder, there's this massive chasm here. How in the world am I going to help close this gap? And so a part of the reason why I actually created this idea and this channel was specifically not just to share part of my journey, but in hopes that you would come alongside of this journey with me and that we would do this together. Because friend, you are watching this because you are not like every other husband and father out there. You have this pull deep inside of you that wants to do things drastically different than your father, his father, to the fathers that are around you. You look at the guys around you going, man, I feel like a crazy man. You know, your wife is probably crunchy. She's doing things a little bit differently. And you're having to say no to certain things and yes to things you never thought you would say yes to. And you're going, am I bonkers? You're not. I can tell you're not crazy because I feel like I'm crazy. I know I'm not crazy because of how God is leading me. And I can tell you he's doing the exact same thing in the way he's leading you. Now, there's all the funny quirkiness to all the different sides of what it means to be married to a crunchy person. And we'll probably talk about some of those things in regards to what it looks like to be an upside down dad in a world that seems like it's going crazy. However, today I want you to hear that you are not crazy. You're not crazy for doing the things you want to do. See, the truth is when you look at all the other men around you, when you watch the other YouTube channels, when you engage with social media content, when you watch the movies you watch or the TV shows, when you just engage with everything happening around you, the men that you are actually watching are men that you feel like you want to aspire to be like. But at the core of many of those men are men who are just trying to hold it together. There's some language I use around that. If you watch a man and you see that he feels like he's got his job, his family, his life, his schedule, his health, all of that figured out, you are watching a man who's actually living in a very, very small story. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is he has found a way to control everything that's happening in his life. And one of the things that you'll learn as you develop and grow as a man, as a husband, and as a father is that when you are in control of your life, you are not growing and developing as a man. That chasm between who you are now and who you want to be only comes by means of surrender. That's the only way to truly close that gap. To surrender to God, first and foremost, and to his son, Jesus Christ, and what he did for you, and surrendering to the process and pathway that God has set aside for you as a son to become that man along in the process. But most men live in really small stories in which that gap still remains. And they live their lives for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years or more, and get to 50, 60, 70 and go, what the hell happened? Like, I thought I had it all figured out. Like I got the job, I got the retirement, the nice car, the beautiful wife, all the kids, and we did this thing. And now I'm later into life and I'm going, this just doesn't work. Like I'm trying to conquer things into my 50s, 60s, and 70s that I thought I can conquer because I'm that age. But I still feel really young inside. It's because you didn't go on that journey. And so a part of what Upside Down Dad is how do we learn to step out of those really, really small stories where we are controlling everything and step into a much bigger story in which God becomes the main character, us the supporting line, and allowing him to fill us into the process and pathway of becoming the man that God meant when he meant us. And so I look at the scope of my life and I realize that ultimately God is calling my wife, my daughters, and myself to live an upside down life. And most of that is reflecting the fact that we just want more of God. We want more of his kingdom, more of his promises, more of his pathway for us. We look at his word and go, there's so much here, there's so much life. And we look at the world and go, this is just not offering what we'd like for it to offer. So Jesus, how do we take the narrow opposite path? How do we live an upside down life in what I believe to be a wrong side up world? What does that look like? And so that's why this channel exists. And so the invitation for you guys today is to think about your life in that way. 1, you're not crazy. Let's do this together. 2, you're not alone. Let's do this together. 3, what would it look like for you to leave those small stories of control behind and to engage with God and be present into his bigger story and engage with your family in a physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial way to turn the Titanic in your life and ultimately decide, I'm going to do things drastically different. I'm going to break the inherited defaults that were given to me as a husband and father and decide to do things differently so that my kids and the lines of generations that come after me will look drastically different. Because that's what's at stake, guys. That's what's at stake. For you to look, depending on how old your kids are, 5, 10, 15 years down the road and see a family that looks drastically different. And to be frank with you, the reason why I started this channel was so that, yeah, you could see this journey, but so that I could learn and grow a lot faster. Because I'm not the man I want to be yet. And I don't think you are either. That's why you're here. Because you believe your heart, your soul, your mind, your body, your spirit, it matters. And you are here to grow and develop into the man that God meant when he meant you. If you haven't subscribed yet to the Upside Down channel, do it now. Like the video, comment, share your thoughts on one of your takeaways that you've taken away from this video, and then share it with a friend. And let's build this tribe, this community together. Let's go.